Um, so, question number 2 is from Vesna. So, Vesna says, "Hi there, I have a question for the webinar. So far, I'm doing okay on the program. And when I read this, I thought, okay is awesome. Okay is perfect. So, if you're doing okay, you're doing great. Um, I'm enjoying setting my weekly goals and reflecting on them each week. I'm starting to notice small changes in what I choose to eat and when, which is just great, along with adding in self care that was much needed. One of my values is to be fit enough to run around with my grandkids when I'm 70 ish. I'm now in my mid 40s. I know, right? Talk about planning in advance. I enjoy the gym and it always makes me feel strong and fit. And for years, it meant I didn't need to diet, just eat well. I always feel like eating well when I'm exercising. However, the last few years, kids, uni, and work have sucked up a lot of my time. And I've tried to add gym time when I have time or at home workouts, but it hasn't really worked. So I would like to join up at a new gym which has a 3-month challenge. It's F45. They run a gym with a creche and an eating plan. I won't be doing the eating plan. I might just take a few recipes to try. However, I'm confused. Is this setting up a system, a smart system, as you talked about last week? Because I'm committing to the challenge and it has accountability. Or am I trying to find a quick fix to lose weight? I think it's a bit of both, if I'm honest. And I'm really confused if this is the right thing to do or not. Thanks in advance. Cheers, Vesna. So, Vesna, this is a great question too. And one of the reasons why I think this is a great question is because when we're thinking about dieting, non dieting, we really have to think about what are our intentions? We have to think about what we're doing, but we really have to think about why we are doing this deep down. And I like that you've already done that reflection, Vesna. You've been honest with yourself and said, it is about setting up a smart system so I can get my exercise, but it's also about a quick fix for losing weight. So if you've been honest with yourself, it is a bit of both. We have to be honest with ourselves when we're asking if something's dieting slash not dieting. So it's really very much about our intentions. So I would say there that the cool thing is, Vesna, you've already done that first part and been really honest with yourself, because it's very, very easy not to be. The more something is sustainable, balanced, about long-term change, holistic, the more up this non-diet end of the spectrum it is. The more it's about short-term results, quick fixes, weight loss, the more diety it is. And I think an important point here is that it is a continuum. It's not all or nothing. So if you were doing a very purist, say, a health at every size approach, a purist health at every size approach would say F45 has a focus on weight loss, don't do it. But I think in a small group like this, and while we're basing our work on evidence and what works for people in real life, as well as our ideology, we can be a little bit more nuanced than that, and we can look at where we are on that continuum. Um, it is really important that we're really real with ourselves, because anything can be made into a diet. A 12-week program can absolutely very easily be made into a diet. A healthy eating plan can be made into a diet. Even intuitive eating can be made into a diet. We just pretend we're intuitively eating, we're secretly doing it because we want to lose weight. So we got to be really, really careful with our intentions deep down. So if we're looking at this now and thinking, look, this is part of, it's like partly about a smart system that might help me get some more exercise in, which does historically help me and of course will help me. And part of it is a quick fix weight loss. What are we going to do with that? So I've got a couple of thoughts. We are always, look, I'll say we are in a cleaner, easier to work with space if we don't do anything that's associated with dieting. So that's the first thing. So I would encourage you to think about, is there another smart system that I could use to get me exercising? Could I get an exercise buddy? Could I get a personal trainer? Could I get a small group where what we call a true personal training group, a true group personal training, where the trainer knows my name and will know whether I come or not, and I know most of the other people in the group's names. Those groups tend to be better at keeping people in because there is some sort of accountability. So that would be the first question I would ask: is can I set an alternative smart system that I have zero doubts or concerns in my mind that it's a dieting thing? So that's where I might start. Um, and often I think that makes us keeps in a really nice, safe, diet-free zone. And I often would encourage you, investment. I'm not sure where you are in this journey. I often favor this approach with most people, but I definitely favor it with people who are new to the non-diet approach, because I find that unless you've sort of cultivated some of these non-dieting ideas about intuitive eating and joyful movement and size diversity and positive body image, unless you've really had a bit of familiarity with those, I think sometimes a program with a bit of weight loss stuff or a bit of diety stuff can suck you back in and undermine all the good non-diet work you've been doing too quickly. So I typically, if it's a person who's just starting with me, I'm like, oh, no, I'm very, very wary. Let's say you're someone who is very familiar, very comfortable, and has internalized some of these ideas. You're maybe not so focused on weight. You see your health, your well-being, your success is very multifaceted. It's not just about that one number on the scales. You know about all the nasties of diet culture, and you've sort of maybe even developed a bit of trust in your body and ability to intuitively eat and change your relationship with exercise. If you're partway along that path, then sometimes you can do things that have a bit of diet sort of culture in them, and you can separate the wheat from the chaff or the baby from the bathwater and get some of the things that are helpful without some of the nasties. So that is possible, but I feel much more comfortable with people who are a bit further along the journey. And what I would say about that is that, again, you know. So when I talk to my clients and be like, well, should we do this? We have a chat about it and I kind of go, what do you really think? And I'd say 8 times out of 10, they know. They're like, oh yeah, this is risky territory. Or they say, you know what? No, I really feel like I can do this. Like we've thought about it. And I'm like, no, I think it'll be fine. Um, so if you go to this, I think when we're thinking about this, there are lots of other things that we would be thinking about that could be, partly helpful but partly harmful. So we can follow these same principles for all of this stuff. Um, a lot of the non-diet approach is about what we don't do. It's about not doing stuff that's going to sabotage us in the long term, not doing stuff that we know from our history and from research is going to stuff us up, even if it's going to get us short-term results. So a lot of non-dieting is about what we don't do. So if you're going to do a program that has a little bit of diet stuff in it, a bit of weight loss stuff in it, you're really going to want to separate out from that stuff as much as possible. If you're going to make it something that's going to get you different results and be consistent with what we're doing. So in this case, I made a few notes. You've already said you won't do the meal plan. So I don't know what the meal plan is, whether it's a calorie controlled thing or they do it via macros, but I would bet money that it's weight focused in some way. So I think that's a good thing that you're not doing the meal plan. Although you've said, look, maybe there's some recipes in there that I can take. So that's great. That's a good start. Other things I would put my hand down for would be if they do one-on-one nutrition counseling or even like workshop nutrition counseling. I think there's those huge likelihood that that's going to be diety and triggering and suck you back into that dieting mentality. And we all know that, a lot of us, when we're moving into a non-diet approach, we're moving from something that hasn't served us in the past. It hasn't worked for us in the long term, but it is something that we've been most familiar with and most comfortable with. So we can never underestimate the power of diet culture to suck us back in and undermine the good work we've been doing really, really quickly. So we have to protect ourselves from that. So I'd put my hand down for nutrition support or workshops around nutrition. I would put my hand down for any competition that's based on body composition or weight loss, and probably even looks, like image, like if who's built the most muscle or become the most shredded or that type of thing. Because that's short term, that's fast, and that's not the mentality that we're working towards here. We're working towards long term changes here. I would actually stay away from anything that is weighing or body composition related. Simply that act of weighing yourself or measuring your body composition is one of the best ways to pull you back into a diet mindset. So I'd stay away from that. And I'm just, it's got me thinking of the last gym that I joined, and the poor dude who was signing me up. Um, and he said to me, okay, so you get this free body composition thing. We'll set you up with that. And I said, nah, I don't believe in that. Or I actually think I said, nah, I think that's bullshit. And he was kind of like, okay. And we just continued. Um, and I think the thing there that I wanted to say is that you're the boss. Whatever program you do, you're paying these guys. So I would definitely put my hand down um, for anything that you think is going to be triggering or even potentially triggering. Your sensitive mind is too precious, so we need to protect it. Don't put it in any harm's way in order to get some short-term results. A couple of little points, if you're doing any health-based programs, this could be a medical program or something your doctor asks you to do, or any of these type of programs. If they're asking you to do things that you don't want to do or that aren't good for you, a couple of tips that can really help is to, one, have the conversation about what you want to do and what you don't want to do before you sign up. That way you have the power. You can have the agreement, and the negotiating tool is all the money that you're going to spend on the program. So it becomes an agreement beforehand. It's like, okay, I don't want to do this, this, and this. This is the way I do things. I get this is your program, but I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do it. You can explain or not explain. Can this work? Because otherwise I can't do it. I don't want to do it. But can you modify the program in this way? Or is it okay if I don't do this bit? But have that conversation beforehand. And the other thing that I think is really good is that sometimes people, sometimes health professionals don't necessarily understand or believe in the harms of these types of approaches. Obviously, most of them are really good, caring people, and they just want to help you. But they might not be doing something that's best serving you. So if they don't seem to understand, it's like, it's just weighing yourself. It's okay. Or this is body composition. You're not weighing yourself. Or this is just healthy eating. It's macros, or it's keto. It's good for you. A trump card that you can always pull is just talk about eating disorders or disordered eating. Just say, look, I don't want to weigh myself because I have a history of an eating disorder. Or if you don't feel like saying you have an eating disorder or you don't have an eating disorder, you say, I don't want to weigh myself because I have a history of disordered eating. And then what you'll find is that is sort of like a phrase or a word that people will, health professionals will go, oh, okay, I kind of get this. It helps them understand the seriousness of it.